You type in a sentence and a full song comes out. Sounds like something out of science fiction, right? Well, it's not anymore. This is the wild new world of AI music generation. And today we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how this stuff works from the very first word you type. So you start with something super simple, right? Like just a beat pop song. You hit go, and what you get back is kind of mind-blowing. I mean, listen to this. You get a catchy melody, a driving beat, even some harmonies. It really does feel like magic. But, of course, it's not. So, what is going on under the hood? All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at how you craft the sound. Then we'll dive into the AI composer itself. After that, we'll check out the new music industry that's popping up, see how AI is becoming a real creative partner, and finally, we'll get a little futuristic and talk about what's next for composition. Okay, first up, crafting the sound. We're talking about going from a simple idea to a really detailed blueprint. It all starts with the prompt, but what you can do with that prompt, it's absolutely insane. The difference between a beginner and a pro here is, well, it's everything. So check this out. This really shows you the two extremes. On one side, you have the beginner. Their prompt is basically a wish. Hey, give me a slow, sad piano track. Simple enough. But on the other side, you've got the professional. And that's not a wish. Oh no, that is a blueprint. It's like a full-on set of architectural plans for a piece of music. And I mean, it gets deep. A pro isn't just asking for some pads. They're specifying layered, granular pads holding a frozen A minor ninth chord. They're not just saying, I want some bass. No, they're demanding a monophonic analog pulse in C minor, EQ boosted by 4.5 decibels at exactly 80 hertz. They're even calling out the final mastering levels in loose. This is the whole point. You go from just being a director to being the head sound engineer, controlling every tiny detail. Okay, so we've seen what we can tell the AI, but how in the world does it actually turn that crazy technical blueprint into music? Well, the answer is pretty amazing. It's a process that feels less like writing music and more like sculpting it. The magic trick is called latent diffusion. So picture this. The AI starts with a big block of pure digital static, just random noise. Your prompt? That's the set of instructions for the sculptor. The AI then starts chiseling away at that noise, step by step, refining this chaos. And as it removes the noise, a coherent song starts to emerge from the static. Once all the noise is gone, that refined structure is decoded into the actual audio you hear. It's literally finding the music that was hiding inside the noise all along. And the engine that powers this whole sculpting process? It's often something called a diffusion transformer, or DIT for short. Now, this is a really cool part. It's basically the same kind of powerful transformer architecture you find in language models like ChatGPT, just, adapted for music. And its superpower is understanding long-range connections. That's the key reason why the music these things create today doesn't just fall apart after a few seconds. It can actually hold together and make sense for a whole song. Which leads to this really powerful quote from the folks behind a big open source model. They said their goal is to build a stable diffusion moment for music. And if you know anything about AI art, you know that's a huge deal. Stable diffusion was this foundational tool for images that just completely unlocked a new wave of creativity. That's what they want to do for music, create that same kind of open, powerful foundation for everyone. And that ambition really sets the stage perfectly for what's happening in the industry right now. We're watching it take shape, and it's basically splitting into two different camps, the open versus the closed ecosystems. All right, so on one side, you've got the closed source platforms. Think Suno or Udio. Their whole goal is to be super easy to use. You get a simple web page, type in a prompt, and get a song, one shot. But then, on the other side, you have the open source projects like A-Step. Their goal is totally different. They're not trying to be a finished product. They're trying to be the engine that artists and developers can take and build on, customize, and really get their hands dirty with. It's kind of like the difference between a simple point-and-shoot camera and a pro DSLR where you can swap out all the lenses and tweak every setting. And you might think open source means, not as good. But you'd be wrong. Check out this human evaluation study. It's pretty fascinating. The open source model, A-Step, actually scored higher than the big commercial one, Suno V3, on things like emotional expression and innovativeness. So this shows that the open source route isn't just for hobbyists. It's already putting out results that are not just competitive, but in some ways, even better. And get this, it's doing it at an incredible speed. We're talking 188 times faster than older models. I mean, it can generate 4 minutes of music in just 20 seconds. And look, in a creative process, speed isn't just a nice to have, it's everything. That's what transforms this from some clunky tool where you wait hours for a result into a real-time interactive partner you can jam with. So that speed and that flexibility are pushing these models way beyond just type text, get song. They're becoming something more like a whole suite of specialized collaborative tools that a real musician can actually use. So, for instance, there's lyric to vocal. Imagine you're a songwriter, you've just written some new lyrics. Instead of trying to sing them yourself, you just type them in, and the AI synthesizes a realistic vocal performance for you. Instantly. You can try out different melodies, different phrasings, all without ever setting foot in a recording booth. Or you can get even more specialized. There's a model that's been fine-tuned on a massive data set of rap music. They basically created a rap machine, an AI that's an expert in that one genre. It gets the flow, the pronunciation, the little nuances of hip-hop in a way a general model just can't. The result is way more authentic. And it even works in reverse. Check this out. Singing to accompaniment. You, the human, sing a vocal track, just your voice. You feed that to the AI, and it generates a full, musically appropriate instrumental to go along with you. The AI basically becomes your own personal session band on demand. You can really see the shift here from just a generator to a true creative partner. Which brings us to our final stop. The really, really cutting-edge stuff. The future of composition. What happens when the AI stops just making music and starts thinking about it? Okay, so there's this new framework called Chain of Musical Thought, or MusicHot, and it is wild. The idea is that before the AI generates a single note of audio, it first generates its own internal chain of thought. It's basically a text description of what it's about to do, a blueprint of the song's structure, the instruments, the vibe. It sketches out a plan, just like a human composer would before it starts writing the music. And this, to me, is the most mind-bending part. The researchers point out that all this reasoning is happening in what's called a latent space. Now, what that means is the AI isn't thinking in human words. It's learning to reason about musical ideas abstractly in its own kind of pure conceptual language. It's getting closer to a genuine understanding of music itself. All right, let's do a quick recap of the whole journey. We saw that user control goes from simple wishes to super detailed blueprints. We learned that these AIs are like sculptors, chipping away at digital noise to find the music. We saw the industry is splitting between easy-to-use closed tools and powerful open platforms. The AI is evolving into a real collaborator. And finally, the next big leap is AI that can actually reason about music before it creates it. Which really leaves us with one big final question to think about. As this technology keeps pushing forward, when an AI can analyze a request, plan out a song's structure, and reason about its own musical choices, where do we draw the line? When does it stop being just a tool and become a collaborator? Or maybe even a composer?